Welcome back. The Democratic candidates for the U.S. presidential nomination are facing off in Wyoming. The state holds its caucus less than 3 hours from now. It's the least populated state in the country, so only 14 delegates and 4 superdelegates are at stake there. Frontrunner Hillary Clinton leads the overall delegate count with an estimated 1,780 delegates. Rival Bernie Sanders has 1,099 delegates. Now, the war of words between the candidates has been heating up ahead of a high-stakes contest in New York on the 19th. Chris Frates joins me now live from Washington. Chris, Sanders and Clinton have been battling over who is more qualified to be president. What is the latest?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right here, Linda. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders really slugging it out on the campaign trail ahead of New York's crucial primary, which is just 10 days away now. And the fight really blew up when Sanders said Clinton wasn't qualified to be president. It was a jab that Bill Clinton suggested was a double standard, and one that Hillary Clinton said she never even heard before.
You may have heard Senator Sanders say, "I'm unqualified to be president." Well, seriously. Seriously, I've been called a lot of things over the years, but unqualified has not been one of them. And this morning, he finally acknowledged that, of course, he doesn't really believe that. This is all pretty silly.
Now, Sanders defended the criticism, arguing that it was Clinton's camp that first questioned his qualifications to be president before walking his comments back.
Does she have the experience? Obviously she does. She was Secretary of State, a U.S. Senator. I thought an outstanding First Lady in many respects, breaking the mold.
This campaign are still questioning Clinton's judgment. They're pointing to her past support for the Iraq War and a law that prevented the federal government from recognizing same-sex marriage. Of course, Clinton has since called her Iraq War vote a mistake, and she's come out in support of same-sex marriage. And this all comes as Sanders is playing hard to the Democratic base. He's trying to upset Hillary Clinton in her adopted home state, where she leads in the polls, because even after winning 7 of the last 8 contests, Sanders trails Clinton in the delegate count, which will decide the nomination. And the Democratic Party's rules make it very difficult for Sanders to catch Clinton at this point. But for a shot at the comeback, he really has to win in New York, and he has to win big, Linda.
And Chris, Bill Clinton is also playing a bigger role in his wife's campaign. But from what we've been seeing, is it a help or a hindrance?
Well, he's certainly making headlines there. He's pushed back against some Black Lives Matter protesters, kind of wagged his finger at them. People question whether or not that was a great move, because, certainly Clinton has built her support. She's built that delegate lead with big wins in states where there are large minority populations, like in the southern United States. So she's very popular with African-American voters and other minority voters. People questioning whether or not Bill Clinton handled the protest of his crime bill that he passed when he was president appropriately. So we're seeing a little bit of that back and forth. Also, we saw he got questions about whether or not this whole Sanders argument about whether whether Hillary Clinton is qualified to be president, whether that is because she's a woman. And, he didn't quite say that it was, in fact, sexism, but he did say it was a double standard. And so, he's kind of fielding questions here that are a little bit off script. And anytime Bill Clinton goes a little bit off script, you're always waiting to see if he makes any headlines, Linda.
And he certainly is doing that. Now, despite the fact that Wyoming votes today, New York is where the main focus is, and there certainly is a lot of delegates to grab.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of delegates there. In fact, almost 250 delegates at stake in New York, and that's second really only to California. So this is a big, big state. And remember, Hillary Clinton is leading Bernie Sanders by about 230 delegates right now. But the way these rules that I talked about work, it's not a winner-take-all state. So if Bernie Sanders were to upset Hillary Clinton, he doesn't grab all 250 of those delegates. It's proportional, and that's why he needs really big wins. He doesn't need to just upset her. He needs to upset her by wide margins. For instance, he needs about 77% of the pledged delegates left on the table to clinch that nomination. Hillary Clinton needs just about 35%. So Bernie Sanders needs wins, and he needs to win very big, Linda.
Okay, Chris Frates, live from Washington. Great to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the Republicans are ramping up their fight to secure the number of delegates needed to win their party's nomination. Saturday, Colorado selects its Republican delegates, and in less than 2 weeks, there's that all-important New York primary. Donald Trump is leading with 746 delegates, followed by Ted Cruz with 525 and John Kasich with 145.